Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the new press secretary under the Trump administration, none other than Kayleigh McEnany. This bright, very smart, and well-spoken new press secretary has been doing an amazing job combating the media in these press conferences that have been happening very frequently under this current new crisis we're dealing with. Trump has a lot of press conferences himself too, but in addition, Kayleigh has been holding it down, taking questions from terrible reporters who are trying to got you, her and the president. She doesn't take that BS though. She claps back at them and gives them great straight facts to kind of respond and show them how terrible they truly are. Yes, we could have another thug life situation on our hands here, similar to the very cool thug life stuff Ben Shapiro used to sprout out before the 2016 election. Now we're in a post-2016 world, we're in a 2020 world, and Trump is running for re-election later this year, so perhaps it is time to dub Kayleigh McEnany the new thug life person of the internet, because she has some great thug life moments, meaning she has some great mic drop moments where she calls people out and people will just want to be like, oh, dang girl, what you did, girl, stuff like that. Having fun. We like to have fun here. And with all that said, we're going to get into some awesome moments where she calls out the press in a few different situations today. Kayleigh is, of course, a very exciting new press secretary, and she recently had a run-in with some reporters, as usual. Here's a tweet that has some more information. It's from the Washington Examiner. It says, press secretary laid out a few questions that any good journalist would want to answer about why people were unmasked. It is a criminal act to leak the identity of Michael Flynn to the press, but it happened. Where are the questions to Obama's spokesperson? This, of course, is referencing General Michael Flynn, who was unmasked by the Obama administration. And this situation, it's not necessarily a literal unmasking, like you're not taking off a Halloween mask. This is about revealing Flynn's identity when it wasn't related, it wasn't supposed to be revealed. He was a special advisor to the president under the Trump administration. Obama revealed him in an illegal way, and that's the main takeaway, and this is the main premise of the whole Obamagate story. So we're going to get to more of that soon. Let's see what this clip has to say. It sounds pretty good already. Let's check it out.
Obama and unmasking Michael Flynn were the men and women in this room. I haven't spoken to him on that specific point, have spoken to him about the matter generally. And I laid out a series of questions that any good journalist would want to answer about why people were unmasked, and all sorts of questions. And I just wanted to follow up with you guys on that. Did anyone take it upon themselves to pose any questions about Michael Flynn and unmasking the President Obama spokesperson?
I don't think she's going to get many positive answers there. And that's just because as she's questioning them, she's talking about how journalists don't have this kind of curiosity anymore. These are things journalists are supposed to know about. They're supposed to be asking everyone questions and kind of being these inquisitive kind of watchdogs almost in a lot of ways, especially this White House press room. And look at them all having their heads down, trying to ignore her question that she's proposing onto them. And you could tell they are not interested. They know that they're in the wrong. They're not reporting things fairly. They don't ask certain people questions when they do obviously bad things, like in this case with Obama. It's happened with Biden, Hillary Clinton. Other Democrats will get away with all kinds of stuff, and they won't even ask the question. They won't even have a reporter inquire, oh, what happened here? What's up with this? You guys revealing Flynn? What's up with this story? They don't even care. They want to pretend it's not even a story, like we've seen in previous clips with this Kayleigh press conference where they would ask, where's the crime? What's wrong with Obamagate? Like they want to pretend there was nothing even wrong there, which is rather ridiculous. We all know there's a complex story there, and you might not get it at first glance, but there are a lot of problems there. Firstly, Obama possibly wiretapping and inquiring and kind of looking over an incoming administration, looking over Trump and looking into him, that's seriously frowned upon at the least, and definitely possibly illegal depending on how and why it was all enacted. We know there's also related parts to the story about the Steele dossier, which was a fake news, fake document that was basically just presented so that they could get FISA warrants, which would allow this wiretapping of Trump. This was happening under Obama, yada, yada, yada. We know all these details. We know the story is true. At least we know it's possibly true, and it needs to get investigated somewhat. There are still details out there. We don't know all the facts yet, but the point that Kayleigh is bringing up is these reporters don't even want to ask. These reporters lack curiosity, and they're lacking the sort of vigor and interest that an actual journalist would have here. And it's just rather funny too, because the way they question Trump about stuff all day, the way they don't let anything go with these conservatives, they make stuff up because these conservatives and Trump, they're all so clean, they have to make up things and act like they're secret racist or something. And it's just absurd, and it's an absurd double standard, because we have these kinds of obvious things that need to get questioned. At the same time, they're making up stuff to question with the Republicans.
Oh, not a single journalist has posed that question. Okay.
Name wasn't
so
Max,
I would like to lay out a series of questions, and perhaps if I write them out in a slide format, maybe we're visual learners and you guys will follow up with journalistic curiosity. So number one, why did the Obama administration use opposition research funded by a political organization and filled with foreign dirt to surveil members of the Trump campaign?
Okay, so now she's kind of got this slideshow going. I heard about this part in the news too. The slideshow got a little interesting because it's kind of her just acting like she's a school teacher here. She's kind of teaching these journalists how to be journalists. It's like they didn't go to school. They didn't have any kind of college training or intern at a newspaper or something. It's like, no, we have to have the press secretary teach them how to journalist. Like, that's how bad we've gotten in this day and age. That's how far gone the media has become. Like, they won't ask the questions. They don't care about anything. This question is definitely deserving of concern. Let's go back to the slide there. It says, why did Obama use opposition research funded by a political organization and filled with foreign dirt to spy on members of the Trump campaign? So this is what we were getting at before too. Obama spying on Trump, of sitting president, spying on his incumbent. Very similar to like Watergate stuff again, which was a different situation. That was during an election. Nixon was running against someone. But in this case, it's just another group of Democrats going after a Republican that they wish hadn't won. You know how bad the 2016 election was for them. They thought they had it in the bag. So Trump winning was a big hit to them. And the fact that none of these reporters want to ask that question, it just goes back to showing how easy they were on Obama. They let everything go back then. There was no questioning of Obama. Obama was supposedly the scandalous president when really he had a lot of dirt on him. He had a lot of bad things that happened in his administration. Benghazi, pay for play, selling uranium to foreign powers, lots of stuff like that that just got overblown. So the point here is, the fact is that just because the media is not reporting on something doesn't mean it didn't happen. Just because they're forming a narrative, it doesn't mean it's true. And it goes both ways. It goes with both the Democrats and them trying to cover up for them and act like they're perfect, and then also them kind of saying that Trump is evil, Trump is a terrorist or something like that. They want to bring down conservatives and pretend they're the worst when really we're not.
Number two, why was Lieutenant General Michael Flynn unmasked? Not by the intel community entirely, but by Obama's chief of staff, by the former Vice President Joe Biden, by Susan Rice, by the Treasury Secretary.
Okay, this is the next question. Why was Michael Flynn unmasked or exposed or revealed? Kind of like almost like a doxing, you might say. Like, that's the term that kind of gets more buzz on YouTube. If we said this as a doxing, you would be like, okay, that was bad. And that's kind of what happened to Flynn, just in a different way, in a different word, different term. And that's why it was a bad thing. And no one's asking the question. It came from Obama's chief of staff, Joe Biden, Susan Rice, all these players having these kinds of shady dealings. And it's actually even more relevant now because Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee for Democrats, and he's right there involved in this Obamagate stuff. He's supposed to be running like he's not squeaky clean. He's got controversies going on right now. And this stuff is interesting because, like, again, like we were saying, the double standard of the press. And it's just funny because they're not even asking questions here. And we all remember how crazy they went off on Trump for the last 4 years. I mean, they made up stuff about him. They were trying to pin Russia collusion on him. They were trying to act like the Steele dossier really happened. They tried to say, he had these affairs, he abused someone. And all of it was just based on nothing. There was no real grounded research. The Mueller report showed they didn't have anything worth charging him for. They didn't have anything against him. It was like them making up stuff. So it's a really big dichotomy when it's like, okay, for Obama, we have all these things that are very questionable, very obvious. There's bad things that are happening. They won't talk about it. But then with Trump, everything seems fine, but they're going to make up stuff to pin on him. And it's just really terrible, really needs to stop. And it shows how bad the press has gotten.
I mean, this is extraordinary. And, you know, if it were political appointees in the Trump administration, I can guarantee you I'd have questions in my inbox right now. But apparently Obama's spokesperson does not. Why was Flynn's identity leaked? In a criminal act. It is a criminal act to leak the identity of Michael Flynn to the press, but it happened. Where are the questions to Obama's spokesperson? Because my team would be running around this building should this have happened under the Trump administration.
Okay, a straight up crime. It's illegal to reveal who Michael Flynn was. Now, you might not understand all the premises and the plot twists and all the stuff going on. We don't all know how the government works, why his identity needs to be secret. You know, we've gone over all the details, but the point is, this is illegal. We got to listen. Kayleigh's making a strong point, and the press is just getting railed here. This is a real big shellacking that I don't think they could really come back from. I don't know why they just ignore this and act like nothing happened.
Why did the DOJ, Sally Yates, learn about the unmasking from President Obama? So much for going by the book. As Susan Rice said 3 times, thou doth protest too much, Susan Rice. And then finally, question number 5. Why did James Clapper, John Brennan, Samantha Power, and Susan Rice
Okay, she's on a roll here. I gotta pause to interject. It says, why did all these people privately admit under oath that they had no evidence of collusion while saying the opposite publicly? This is another really bad move, a really big thing that's gotten exposed recently, because what happened was these kinds of background files have been released, whether it was emails or cables or whatever they were conversing with. These files came out showing that these guys had private conversations where they knew there was no evidence of collusion. They knew that Trump was innocent, but they kept going with the public veneer anyway. They kept putting this out there because they knew if they just lied about it enough, if they just kept repeating it in the public, lots of people bought it. And that happened. Lots of people still think collusion happened. It was fake news. It was a big fake thing that they made up. They put it out there as this sort of red herring. They said if they kept saying it over and over, people will believe it. It's like if you tell a lie enough, it'll get believed. That's true here, and that's what happened. They knew it wasn't true behind the scenes, and that's like the worst part, because they were saying the opposite publicly, and it just goes to show that they're liars. They had a vendetta against the president, and this was a sort of coup. It was a sort of illegal grab for power. They're trying to get Trump out of there, and I mean, that's all but obvious. How can we deny the fact that they're trying to get Trump out of power? They've done everything they could. They've had this Mueller investigation based on nothing. They had the collusion accusation. They tried to impeach him. They tried to accuse him of this and that. I mean, they're literally trying to take down a sitting president, a duly elected president. And it's just because they don't like him. Make no mistake. They try to pretend, you know, there's something else going on here. They try to act like he did something illegal. No, it's because they don't like him. It's because they're Democrats and they want the power. It's that simple. It's nothing to do with Trump's or anyone doing anything illegal. The only people doing illegal shit are actually the Democrats. Now, with that said, let's move on. I got one more video with more Kayleigh action. She's got another beautiful blazer on, her great crucifix necklace, as usual, looking great. Let's see where this one goes.
The American Nurses Association has not received reports from nurses or other frontline healthcare workers utilizing hydroxychloroquine as a preventative treatment for COVID-19. Why does the president continue to say that many or thousands of frontline workers are using it as a prophylactic?
Well, there is at Henry Ford Hospital is doing a study on this now, where 3,000 frontline workers will be taking hydroxychloroquine to look at its use as a prophylaxis.
Okay, so she answered the question pretty much right away. There's thousands of workers that are about to use this drug, this prescription, as a preventative measure. This goes back to the whole hydroxychloroquine debate. Trump mentioned that he was taking it earlier last week. Now the press is coming after it again. They're trying to pretend it's crazy. They're trying to pretend Trump's prescribing it to people. He's going to get people killed again. Oh my God, he's going to kill someone. Oh, what about the children? The children. No, that's all nonsense. What really happened was Trump got it prescribed to him by his doctor. It's a preventative measure. It's worked in a lot of situations in the right cases with the right people and the right health requirements, and Trump qualified. His doctor prescribed it. He's taken it and he's doing well. He's healthy. He's leading the country. There's nothing wrong with this prescription. I mean, it's been around for many, many years. It's been around since the 1950s. It's definitely not deathly dangerous. Some people will argue it's not totally tested to treat or prevent this new illness, but there has been some promising results that it's coming in. It's sort of in the testing phase. As Kayleigh just mentioned, there are thousands of frontline workers that are testing it. Other hospitals are testing it. So it's not that far out there for the president to try it. I mean, it's also just this kind of anti-malarial drug. It's something you might take if you leave the country or something. It's not like kind of dangerous pill. It's just something you take whenever you leave the country or you go someplace that might be infected. They're taking it and it's working. So granted, the whole thing here isn't really about the truth. The press just wants to go against it because the president's bringing it up and they want to act like he's scaring people and endangering people when really he's not. He's not doing any scaring or threatening people or endangering anyone. He's just doing his best to deal with this crisis, and the press wants to blame the fault on him. They want to put the blame on him and act like the president's killing people when really it's a deadly disease that's killing people, and it came from another country that's an adversary of ours that's trying to threaten us and blame it on us, and the press is just kind of supporting that propaganda. They're the enemy of the people, and right now the winners and the champions of the people are people like President Trump and Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany having another great showing here today, proving the press is wrong, showing how terrible they're acting and how out of touch they truly are. That about wraps things up. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. What do you think about this story? What do you think about Kayleigh owning the media once again? And can you wait to see her more thug life moments to come in the future? Hit that like button to help support this video, and have a great day, everyone.